This is wrong enough to know better. And today, I'm talking about what I'm calling the $100 million letter. It's a political stunt so shocking and so poorly thought through that it shows, in real time, just how little an American state senator actually understands about Canada. Here's what happened. Joseph Martin, a state senator from Maine, sent a letter to a British Columbia legislator. Not just any letter, he called it a vision for welcoming Western Canada into the United States. But instead of sounding bold or diplomatic, it came across as arrogant, ignorant, and frankly, dangerous. The senator didn't propose cooperation, partnership, or trade. No. His vision was for Western Canada to abandon its entire national identity and apply to become U.S. states. He didn't frame it as equals negotiating. He framed it as submission. The terms? No bilingualism, no multiculturalism, no Charter of Rights and Freedoms, no Canadian history. He called all of that political baggage. In other words, erase who Canadians are, erase what they stand for, and maybe, just maybe, Washington will let them in. That's the pitch. And it reveals a stunning lack of respect for Canada as a sovereign country. Let's break down what he's actually demanding Canadians give up. He wants them to give up the Charter of Rights and Freedoms because he dismisses it as lofty rhetoric. He wants them to give up gun safety laws, arguing that freedom means AR-15s and living with a 3,200% higher risk of mass shootings. He wants them to throw out parliamentary democracy and instead embrace Washington's gerrymandered two-party system. And the multiculturalism point, this one shows how little he actually knows. He says Canada should give up multiculturalism. But multiculturalism isn't just a policy north of the border, it's reality. Canada doesn't have multiculturalism. Canada is multicultural. It is identity, not ideology. Then he names provinces, and that's where the ignorance gets even clearer. First, Manitoba. He assumes French language protections are optional. In reality, they're foundational. The Franco-Manitoban community takes them seriously, and anyone who's ever lived there knows how fiercely they defend that culture. Next, Alberta. He frames it as though Alberta is just sitting there waiting to be strip-mined. But half that province is treaty land. It's not just about votes, it's about indigenous sovereignty and land rights. That's not something you can casually erase with an American ballot. British Columbia comes next. Yes, it has conservatives. But BC is not MAGA country. Politics there don't map onto U.S. culture wars the way Martin seems to think they do. And then, Saskatchewan. Massive, sprawling, infrastructure-heavy Saskatchewan. He seems to think the U.S. could just fold it in. In reality, the costs of upkeep alone would be staggering. But let's flip this around. He talks like Canadians would be trading up by joining the U.S. Let's compare what that really means. In Canada, universal health care exists. Nobody goes bankrupt from medical bills. In the United States, 500,000 people every year file for medical bankruptcy. That's the system Canadians are supposed to trade up for. In Canada, parents can get up to 18 months of paid parental leave. In the U.S., there is zero federal guarantee. Families are forced back to work within weeks or even days of having a child. Childcare? Canada has $10 a day daycare. In the United States, families can pay $2,200 or more per month. Sometimes childcare costs exceed rent. And then there's gun safety. Canadian kids don't practice active shooter drills every week. In the U.S., guns are the leading cause of death for children and teenagers. So again, what exactly is Canada upgrading to? The truth is, this wasn't about helping Canadians. The senator bragged that bringing in 4 new U.S. states would shift American political power towards his brand of conservatism. That was the goal. More power for his party. Not prosperity for Canadians. But here's the part he didn't think through. He probably thought he was scoring points at home, showing off by taking a swipe at Canada. But what he really did was remind Canadians to be more vigilant, to boycott U.S. products, to look elsewhere for trade and cultural partnerships, and even if only a fraction of Canadians follow through, that's not just a letter. That's a $100 million mistake. The fallout from this kind of arrogance could ripple beyond trade. It could harden Canadian attitudes toward U.S. influence, reduce cooperation on security, and drive wedges into cross-border alliances. And in the current geopolitical climate, that is no small risk. All eyes are now on how Canadian leaders respond. Will Ottawa treat this as just an embarrassing stunt, or will they use it as a rallying cry to strengthen Canadian sovereignty and independence? The next 48 hours of political reaction could set the tone for months. This story isn't just about a letter. It's about a deeper struggle over national identity, political power, and the future of North American cooperation. So keep watching, because this could reshape the future of U.S.-Canada relations in ways that are bigger than anyone expected. If you found this breakdown useful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. I'll be tracking every development in this story, and you won't want to miss the next update.